Good afternoon and welcome to ASEAN Business Report. Today is the 15th of November 2011. We are live on air here in Bangkok. I am Onganan Amatayakun.
I'm also here with you, Natagon Plodi, and right now the floods are still continuing in the country, but on a rather low note as suggestions are now concentrated on the rehabilitation process of the country, where the Yingluck government has assigned two new committees to investigate this matter, one headed by Dr. Wirapong Ramangkul on the rehabilitation and the other one by Sumet Tanti Weshikun on the water management. But however, before these two can initiate, let's take a look today, Kunonan, at an academic study of the source of this year's flood, because you can't really rehabilitate if you don't really know what caused the flood.
Right, and Chulalongkorn University in Thailand has proposed a model that would help tackle the flood problem in Thailand for 3 years. And that is initiated by the professor, a lecturer of the Chulalongkorn University, Professor Thanawat Charupongsagun. He is the lecturer at the Science Faculty for Unit for Disaster and Land Information Studies.
And this proposal is actually a 200-kilometer long floodway model, or rather a flood highway, to help drain the floods. Here you can see on the map, well, the flood highway is expected to stretch 200 kilometers from the Chainat Pasak Canal in Chainat province to Klong Dan in Samut Prakan province. So this long highway will run through Bangkok from the northern central region down all the way to the Gulf of Thailand.
Right, so from northern China province up there, it's a little small in the map, but that's a little dot in the uppermost corner. And then coming down through Bangkok and down to the southern province of Samut Prakan.
Yes, and specifics on the floodway, it would have a 1 kilometer wide two 1 kilometer wide buffers along each side and a bi-directional motorway 6 meters in height to prevent flood water from overflowing. And also these buffers will serve other purposes too, such as using to be grown crops or other house recreational parks before the rainy season comes, while the motorway will also serve as a logistic line.
So yes, Kunatagon, I think this is the major reconstruction for the new waterways that Thailand could have. And definitely that we are having to invest quite a huge amount of money on this. But according to the model, we have specific suggestion by the Chulalongkorn University, and one of that is the flood tax, Kunatagon. This would be the tax that's imposed on the people who have their buildings along these new floodways. And the tax rate for the building zones, for example, would be 20 to 30 times higher than anywhere else. That's they're taking the difference on this and keep it for future use as compensation for flood victims.
I see. So it's going to be helping in turn the flood barriers too. And there's also another noteworthy suggestion here. It's a halt in rapid expansion, which rapid expansion is probably the key word to describe Bangkok in the past 200 years, where this city, this newly formed city, is rapidly expanding, constructing, urbanizing.
Urbanization, I would say that.
Yeah, and this rapid expansion of urban areas in Bangkok's neighboring provinces should be halted. Otherwise, more people will be affected by the flood. And according to the plan, instead of rapidly urbanizing Bangkok, we've chosen to the satellite town to be developed around Bangkok in Ratchaburi, Saratburi, Chachengsao, and Suphanburi, as there will be logistics which connect them, such as express trains.
That's one of the points. And also they propose early warning system. The early disaster warning system should also be improved from the original ones, so that people in the highest risk area can prepare for evacuations, as well as the agricultural use of water. Well, in the past, we only used white papers and policymakers to decide where to build roads, where to build all the buildings. But the new government, as suggested in this model, should control the use of groundwater in agricultural areas to prevent subsidence, and should encourage farmers to raise plants or crops that can withstand extreme weather conditions or extreme floods.
Yes, and such examples of this is natural monkey cheek reservoirs that can hold flood waters, which should be preserved in accordance with people's way of life in nearby communities over this rapidly urbanized compromising and losing this normal way of life of Thai people.
Okay, and last but not least, with the model proposed, the legal control should be implemented as well. So laws should be amended to support the disaster management and promote public participation, as well as agencies should be set up to battle disaster using high-tech equipment based on research, according to the plan.
Yes, according to the plan, and research is crucial to the defining matter of this plan.
Right, so this is from the academic side of the Thai people, and that it should be debated or discussed with the two bodies that have already been arranged by the government.
Yes, because the government's side would actually go with the Western format of researching, which concentrates on statistics and numbers and graph rather than looking at the root of the problem.
So it's time to cooperate, basically. And for the latest situation for the local flood, Wipawadi Rangsit Road, the water has reached 1 meter high after residents have removed the big bag barriers protecting the northern part of Bangkok. Within the Don Mueang airport, the water still remains at very high at 1 meter as well. And now without the big bags, Kunatagon, the water levels above and under the barriers have converged into the same level. Now it's all 1 meter.
I see.
In both dry side and the wet side.
So it's equal treatment.
Well, before it was 40 to 50 centimeters on the dry side, but now it's all total. Yes, and residents have to rely on military and private boats service to commute to their work. And I've witnessed this morning before coming to work, actually.
I see.
I've seen a lot of people waiting by the bridges, just waiting for big trucks to come by, and they ask, where do you go? And can we tag along? This is on site, and I've seen them. And as well as the Bangkok roundabout area, the water has receded to 40 centimeters. At Kaset Sat University intersection is of the same level.
I see. Well, traversing around the Don Mueang area still remains troublesome. And now let's move to western Bangkok at Ramatu Road, Soi 69. The situation still remains critical as the floods continue to rise and water is popping up of the sewage system, Kunonan, and the flood level is around 1 to 1.2 meters, which only big trucks and boats can traverse this area where assistance is needed as many people decide to stay in their homes. So the situation is probably like the Don Mueang Airport where you mentioned. And now moving on to Jaran Sanit Wong Road, between Soi 77 and 91, and on the opposite side, 92 and 70 Soi's water level is around 70 to 80 centimeters. And traffic is also closed in this area. And also moving on to Tang Hua Seng Department to Sirinthorn Elevated Road, the traffic still remains closed as the water level is staying at 50 to 60 centimeters. And from Bang Plat to Krung Thonburi Bridge, the road is dry and traffic is normal. However, Bin Glau Bridge to Arun Amrin intersection, the water is receding and it's now 30 centimeters and traffic still remains closed. From Arun Amrin to Pata department store in Bin Glau, the water level is about the same at 30 centimeters, where traffic for small vehicles is rather disrupted. And concerning the western side of Bangkok, and this morning, our Prime Minister, Yingluck Shinawatra, along with Yongyut Wichaydit, the Deputy Prime Minister and Interior Minister, has come out to give a rather shocking news.
Right, on the western part of Bangkok, both of the big figures, they say that the flood can stay with us until the end of the year and beyond.
Beyond New Year's.
Beyond New Year's. That's very shocking news.
Well, that's pretty alarming, especially for people who had been expecting the water to recede in December, around mid-December to pre-New Year. It's now going to be a bit longer. And there's other information that the Prime Minister has said that she does not want the situation to continue over, but there's little chance that we'll be seeing dry lands in western Bangkok. And also, they will investigate whether the house recompensation fee
it stands now at 5,000 baht, but they are thinking of increasing the amount, the cap. Maybe if the residents need more help, need more time to adjust to the flood situation, maybe they will raise the amount. But so far, no changes have been made.